FAI is delighted to welcome David Howard, the President and CEO of VYRD Insurance Company, along with FAI's President and CEO, Kyle Ulrich. So today we're just going to have a discussion with David about a new entry into the Florida property market, VYRD Insurance Company. VYRD is the first new carrier entering the marketplace in Florida in the last 3 years. So David and his team felt like the timing was right. So welcome, David.
Thank you. Glad to be here, guys.
Just want to open up with a question. As our members look at this, and you looked at the landscape in Florida and decided to form this partnership and this a group to bring capital to the Florida property market. Just give us a little background on your thoughts and what the partnership looks like from a capital perspective.
Great. Thanks, Dave. Well, it's interesting. The idea actually came to me. It was presented to me. I was the president of Lighthouse, and I got a call one day from a reinsurance broker from Guy Carpenter that I've known for years. And he said, can you come meet me for a cup of coffee I got a few people I want you to meet. So next thing you know, I'm at a Starbucks, and 2 hours later, I talked to both the chief underwriting officer of Sirius Point of the Americas and a board member from Bolt, which is an insurtech. And they had this idea of putting together this insurance carrier in Florida because they both had some significant ties in Florida, and they wanted to start a company in Florida. So obviously I had to do some soul searching. I was heavily involved in what we were doing at Lighthouse, and but I decided to join them and take on this venture. Bolt has a relationship with Citizens. If you guys are familiar with Bolt, handles the clearinghouse for Citizens. So they had that kind of involvement in Florida. They knew what was going on with the Citizens activity. And then obviously Sirius Point, Sirius Re is a reinsurer that, handles dozens of carriers in Florida. So they know the Florida marketplace, and they felt the time was right for a new carrier in Florida with their backing. So they basically formed a joint partnership. They too are if you will, investors in the group for VYRD, and they put in all the capital to start the company. And obviously they picked me to form it and execute on the plan.
Okay. Well, let's bring in Kyle Ulrich, David, our president and CEO of FAI. He has a few questions.
Sure.
Well, David, thank you again for making the time to join us today. You're obviously no stranger to the Florida marketplace and no stranger to many of our members. So I know I've already talked to a lot of our members who are really excited about the opportunity to work with you in this new venture. And, what was originally announced along with the company is that you guys have plans to start out doing a takeout at Citizens. You mentioned the relationship with Bolt. It's interesting. Dave and I actually just met with Bolt here in our office, probably 2 or 3 weeks ago, talking about the clearinghouse and ways that, there might be some improvements made for the takeout experience for both the agent and the consumer, while at the same time helping companies. So to the extent that you can you share, some of the plans that you have as far as that takeout? I think it's about 42,000 policies is what was originally announced.
Yeah, what we did was we wanted to get a significant number, because as you guys know, the takeout's a challenging process. Not only we may have other carriers targeting the same policies, but we also have the option that the insured stay with Citizens. So, you have to get a number approved. You get your consent order from the OIR to get your the number, if you will, is the maximum amount that you may take out. And then you put together your pro formas and you put together a potential reinsurance program based upon if you got all 42,000 of those. So what we've done is we've done, boy, a number of different, what I would call cuts and filtering as to what makes sense from a geographical spread, a reinsurance cost, a PML, the issues throughout the state, whether it's, social inflation and age of home and age of roof. So we took a look at that, and we wanted to get a bigger number because right now the take-up rate's roughly around 20-25%.
Right.
So our goal was to look at all the parameters, look at the agents that I've worked with, as you mentioned, Kyle, for a long time. I don't want to say how long, but through a few carriers that they know me from. And then really try to look at, okay, what's the best way to make sure that we maximize the take-up rate? And so what we've done is we've used a lot of modeling. We've used a number of sources, whether it be our data modelers. We have actually a couple of PhDs from Bolt that have done some analyses and built some kind of predictive modeling on how the takeout would perform. So we're getting to that point where in 2 weeks we have to file, or if we have to upload our final selection to Citizens. And that's going to be basically a fraction of the 42,000, just based upon all of the cuts and data kind of picks that we've done. So somewhere between 0 and 42,000 will be our upload to Citizens. And then from that point, we are just going to be reaching out to all the agents that are part of that book, if you will, appointing those agents, because the process is a unique process, is that, prior to submitting all of your policies into the upload, you have to appoint all the agents first. And, I may have agents that I appoint that I don't get any of their policies. So it's a really kind of interesting process. And part of my goal was that I wanted to give full appointments to most of my agents, because if they're a partner, they're going to be a partner for me going forward. So, and I've talked to all the agents that have reached out to me directly since they've seen the various press releases. And I've just said, hey, I'm appointing you guys full because, I want you to be my field underwriter. I want you to be a partner of mine. You've been a partner of mine in the past. And, that's kind of how we're taking that approach.
Yeah, no, I appreciate all of that information. And that was one of the things that really kind of stuck out to me among our initial conversation, was that that's a little different approach that you guys are taking to provide a full appointment. But it speaks to the relationships that you have in the marketplace and the folks that you want to do business with. And so I know that's a welcome sign from many agents to have another market that hopefully they can help facilitate those takeouts, but then also at some point in the future be able to write business on a voluntary basis with you. So knowing that you have this takeout plan, and I think the date where it would be effective is sometime in mid to late February, maybe February 22nd, I think.
Correct.
So what are your plans after the takeout as far as voluntary business and so forth?
There's a couple of opportunities we have with some carriers. So following the takeout, we'll start renewing onto VYRD paper, basically 60 to 90 days after February. But there are a couple other opportunities with some carriers that we may look to do a renewal rights offering from a few carriers that are trying to kind of deleverage their portfolio in Florida. So that would be the next stage. And then look to start writing a voluntary business roughly around June 1st. So the first 6 months, we'll try to ingest as much of the take-up policies and then potentially some of these renewal opportunities, and then make sure our system is ready to go for new business as of June 1st.
Well, everybody in Florida knows that June 1st is not just a date. also happens to be the first day of hurricane season, which good luck.
Well, it's interesting, Kyle, because it's funny because you go into hurricane season and you say you're going to launch your start date June 1st. The next thing you know, you put a freeze on because we got a storm brewing. We don't want that.
Yeah.
But Florida is interesting. Florida, we've had a few storms over the past few years, but nothing compared to Louisiana and Texas. And And Florida is actually performed fairly well, other than some of the attritional side issues, but not from a cat standpoint.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's a great opportunity that I hope you all, fare well and capitalize on the opportunity that exists. There was some meaningful reform that was made this past year that obviously is going to take some time to work through the system for many existing carriers. But I have long believed that, for new entrants into the marketplace, it does create opportunity. Don't have that litigation tail, and you guys can come in with favorable rates and forms and provide good options for Florida's consumers and our members. How many agents do you think that you want to end up kind of appointing when it's all said and done? I mean, not right now, but over time. What's your agency plant look like?
I would say once we get to live production, it's hard because, I look at it two ways. I look at agencies and I look at locations. And, with the way that agencies are set up these days, you may have a Brightway that has, over 100 locations. So I'd like to be able to handle anywhere from 600 to 700 locations that may represent 300 to 400 agencies.
Okay.
And I think, that to your point and today's point, I mean, I think what is important is that I want the agents to understand that it is a partnership. And, I see them as a partner, as a field underwriter. They're helping us be in part of our risk selection. And, they have to feel like it's a partnership. And the way that I see it as a partnership is that they need me to be a strong market for them. And I just don't want to be another market that they put on the wall, right? They have another placard on the wall. I want to have a meaningful relationship with all of my agents, because just like when I started Edison, I appointed all of my own agents in Edison. Myself and my CFO did. So they knew, and they knew that they had basically, they had my phone number, and they knew that, we could make management decisions and help them. And I think we're going to, look to do the same thing with VYRD. So.
That's outstanding. David, I think you had a question that you wanted to run by David.
Yeah, David, as our members look at this, part of what they always ask FAIA is, who's your team? Who's the team? They know you, they know David Howard, and you're probably developing that team now, like all these coaching changes, all these staff changes, you're bringing in new staff. But, I know you may not be able to talk about it now, but just in a general sense, what are you looking for as far as building out your team?
So my team, I love that analogy. It's a good one. They're probably going to need one with the Jacksonville Jaguars soon. That is the beauty of being the CEO, and you can bring your own team in. And with this one, basically, I'm the sole employee right now, and I'm building that team out right now. And all I can say to the members is that the folks that I'm looking to put on the team are folks that are well, versed in Florida. They are folks that FAI members have worked with in the past. And, it's most of them have jobs right now. That's one of the challenging things in this business in Florida. As you guys know, it's a very incestuous business. One way or another, I'm not, throwing out name dropping, but one way or another, many of us started at Bankers many years ago. And they all sprung from there across Florida. And there's a number of folks that I have on my list to bring in, and we should have those sooner than later. So you'll know as soon as I get them. We'll make announcements to the folks joining the team. But yeah, it's gonna be folks that know the business. Another thing you guys know is that Florida is such a unique place that you could find a CPCU that was with an insurance company in Hartford and bring them down here, and they'll be clueless as to what's going on. And it's its own environment, its own kind of rules, its own challenges. And, you know, that's why, you know, it's a unique place to do business, but it's also a very opportunistic place if you do take a conservative approach and not be a gunslinger around here, because you can't, one thing in Florida is that you have to have a conservative mindset.
Yep.
Well, David, I want to say thank you again for you taking the time to sit down with Dave and I. It means a lot to me personally. It means a lot to our members that we were joking before we started this recording, you know, that I'm sure you have plenty of free time on your hands right now with all of the things going on. And for you to, you know, carve out some time for us to sit down and talk about this new venture and give our members, you know, the opportunity to kind of hear directly from you means an awful lot. The other thing I wanted to say is that you were also kind enough to share with us your agency contract. And I just want to say it on this, I didn't warn you ahead of time, but our general counsel has reviewed a lot of those agency contracts. And yesterday afternoon, she told Dave and I that it's among the best agency contracts that she's ever reviewed. So
Wonderful.
thank you for sharing that with us. We'll, you know, get back with you and provide a little bit of feedback, but generally speaking, she was very, very happy with that contract, and hopefully that gives some peace of mind to our agents that may be fortunate enough to do business with you going forward.
Well, that's great. You know, Kyle, I really appreciate that, because it makes it a lot easier. You know, you don't want to, you try to create some type of standardization. You don't want to be redlining a lot of those agreements every time you have to sign one. So
I understand.
yeah, good.
Well, thank you again for your time. We really do appreciate it, and look forward to a long-standing partnership with you all. And like I said, I know our members are looking forward to continuing to work with you in this new endeavor.
Great. Well, let me just add a couple of things. I want to thank you both very much for this opportunity to talk to the folks. I know that a lot of the members have this, you know, we'll have this link and they'll be able to see us discuss this. But if anyone needs to reach out to me, my email is very simple. It's david.howard@vyrd.co, not com, but co, and that's VYRD. And you can just send me an email. I'll be contacting agents that are that represent the takeout list, so they'll have a contact for me as well. But I just want to thank everybody within the state of Florida, the FIA, in advance, and I hope everyone has a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays.
Thank you, David. You too.
Thank you.